Hi Leo, welcome to your February 2017 love reading. It's Rena here. Now you, out of all the signs, have the polarity of Aquarius in February, really activating that seventh house, so you have the sun in Aquarius, and actually there's going to be a full moon on, at the end of January, there's actually a new moon in Aquarius. I think that's the 27th of January. And so probably a lot of you will be watching before that date. So just keep that in mind if you're watching in January, because that will be in your seventh house of long-term relationships. And so that can kind of take things to the next level, or even if people who are getting divorced, that could, definitely be a new chapter in your marriage, divorce, But then in February, there's a full moon in your sign on the 10th of the month. So whenever you have a full moon, that means the sun is in the exact degree in the opposite house. There is that seventh house again, activating. It's at 22 Leo. So think about that in terms of your own degree of sun and rising sign, and see how that's near your sun sign or your rising sign in terms of degrees. Okay. Oh, wow. Great end. Great ending. So, I got that Ace of Cups for the incoming energy, and that's new beginnings in love, just like what I said about that new moon, which is actually in January, but it's at the end of January. So this is the overall focus, the Hermit card. This can be a Virgo person, because we do have also another connection to Earth. If this is a Virgo person, and again, the Virgo meaning it doesn't have to be the sun sign. It could be the rising or the moon sign, I guess, or even Mars. If it's not the sun sign and you don't know what other signs they have in their personal points, the person would be kind of studious, maybe wear glasses. I mean, especially if it's on the ascendant, they could have a lot of those features where they're very kind of shy, modest, wearing glasses, Marian the librarian types of people. But that person is probably creating I was going to say creating stress in your life, possibly. It has two possibilities. Either that person is problematic, or you were with a fire sign individual who was problematic, and the Virgo is the new person who has come in. That definitely might be the case, because then we have for maybe the near future dealing with this Earth sign individual. But let's just talk about the past tense. We have the Ten of Wands. This is somebody who's really struggling to, get everything done. So in a work sense, in a career sense, it would be somebody who's overworked in their career to the point of burnout. In a relationship, I feel like it's somebody who is doing the heavy lifting in the relationship. It's not an equal relationship, and this happens way too often. There are varying degrees, but if some person is really trying to put in an effort and the other person is indifferent, which that's this guy, 4 Cups, but it can lead to not only imbalance, but in some cases, it's actually that the person who is working hard on it is not living in reality. Basically, they're living the fantasy of what they want to have happen, and they're trying to will it into existence, and it's just not going to do it like that. When something is meant to be, you don't have to, hit your head against the wall to make it happen. And, they have a term in law of attraction about going upstream. And that's what the Ten of Wands is. It's struggling. It's a lot of struggle. So think about that. If you're in that situation, think about whether or not that is what you think love is about. If it's about struggle instead of easiness. The Hermit could be, for some people, just reflecting on that and realizing that they want better and they attract better, and then you have this kind of result, which is new love coming in. But I do feel that with some people, this will be actually a relationship with someone who is possibly with that Virgo energy, because it's also in the advice. So it could be like what is coming up for you and what to take advantage of. The Ace of Cups is such a beautiful card because it's, you can have Ace of Wands, which is very exciting and energizing, but the Ace of Cups is like on the soul level. It's that soul connection. For you, Leo, being a fire sign, you connect to the wands. The cups are connected to the water signs like, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So I guess maybe some of you are experiencing love with one of those signs. But it's going to be, it doesn't have to be, because you can have a soulmate with somebody who is, a fellow fire sign. Right here, this is a sign associated with Sagittarius. Actually, we have a couple of them. This is associated with Sagittarius. But the Knight of Wands can indicate, this is the higher message. So this could indicate that, if you have been sad about a breakup with somebody, that maybe you were seeing it for more than it was. The Ten of Wands could have meant that you were trying to work on this relationship, and the other person only saw it as a fling. They only saw it as a physical hookup. Maybe like an extended one-night stand. That's one of the things that I could see about that. And it's interesting because we have as the challenge card the Four of Cups. So this can be, as a challenge position, this can indicate your own state of mind. And so maybe this is kind of affecting, anybody new coming in. And I think that's the one thing, when you're still hung up on something else, it's very hard to make room for a new love. So there may be potential for new love, but it's all about whether or not you can leave any past relationship behind and move on. Now, the Hermit card can suggest taking some time in between, relationships. Maybe that's the thing. If you were with somebody a long time, it may be quite an adjustment to, go into that single mode, but you need to have that in between time before you get into something else. People who jump from one relationship to the other, I think they're cheating themselves out of that autonomy that you feel when you don't have to ask anybody else. You don't have to answer to anybody else, and you have that total freedom. But in addition to that, just the integration of all of the things that you've learned in that past relationship. Sometimes I think that those are the people that are just one person to the next, they're not really reflecting which is what the Hermit is all about. They're not really looking at things spiritually to see like how they contributed to the demise of the relationship and how they're going to be different next time. And to me, if you don't do that, then the chances of you having the same pattern repeat itself are very great. So that's something to think about. I think also with the Four of Wands, you see that the person is being offered a cup, which kind of connects to the, emotions or some offer, and they're emotionless. And so it's like being ungrateful for what is being presented to you or given to you. And this can happen too when you're embroiled in a negative relationship, and maybe you have a pattern of, attracting the wrong people, and you don't really know what is good anymore. Like you kind of gravitate towards the very people that are the worst. And this is something, these are long-held patterns. They're not going to change overnight, but you have to be aware of them to begin with. This is when I do private readings, I don't just go, okay, this is going to happen on this date and all that stuff. That to me is not, self-improvement. That is just staying where you are, staying mired in these outworn patterns. And so it's very important. And of course, with the Leo, you are a fixed sign. So it's, you are one of those signs that has trouble with change and has trouble changing yourself fundamentally. So you have to make that extra effort. And it's again, I don't want to get to the Ten of Wands where it's like effort. Like, no, it involves not being in your ego. So it means that you can see things very clearly, not rigidly, and not defensively, where you can see where you may have made a mistake in certain areas of your past relationship. Even somebody who was clearly abused in a relationship, their mistake may have been that they never had boundaries, that they never stood up for themselves. Sometimes that is your mistake if you have been in a very abusive relationship. The point is not feeling like a victim, but also not glossing over the fact that things should have, need to change in your life. I think that's one of the big things that people don't do, and they don't examine their behavior and how it helps or hinders them. And that can cause chronic issues. The advice is the Three of Pentacles. So if this is an earthy person, even if you feel like, oh, wow, the other person is so exciting, this person, I never know when they're coming or going. They tell me they're going to be somewhere. They tell me they're going to come over, and I don't hear from them for 3 weeks. That is so exciting. No, that's chaos. The Knight of Wands is a chaotic individual, even in the upright position. This is about building your future. This is about something that has legs, and it's fruitful. The number 3 is a number of creativity, fertility. So if you want something, if you really, really want a relationship and you're not just using bad hookups as an excuse for not getting close to someone, if you really want it, then you have to appreciate the people that are giving you love, not look at them like, I'd never belong to a club that would have me as its member, which is what Woody Allen said. A lot of people are like that. If somebody likes them, then they're like, okay, this person must be off. That's called low self-esteem. And even Leos can have that. A lot of times underneath the bluster, Leo can be very insecure. And this is one of the reasons why with the shadow aspect, there's a lot of, bragging and all that kind of stuff, because the person feels like they have to prove their worth, and you don't. But here's the great thing. You're on an upswing. You get as the final card, or the result. That's not what it's called, is it? The outcome, the result. the Wheel of Fortune. And that is the card. Now, that is associated with Jupiter. So, maybe this person is a Sagittarius. I was going to say maybe it's me because I'm a Sagittarius and I have the moon in Virgo, but no, I'm off the market. So it's a card of, you see the person that has fallen off. That life is a wheel. Our lives are kind of dictated by cycles. Sometimes we're on top of the world. Sometimes we have a rough patch, and rough patches can be greatly lessened, I feel, if you are on top of your game, if you never allow yourself to sink down into like identifying with those negative periods. They can really be cut short, and they don't even have to be real periods. Right now we have Saturn in Sagittarius. So if you have any planets that are in Sagittarius, in your natal chart, that can point to, or in the houses, where does it show up? That can point to areas where there's a lot of serious kind of stuff going on, but it's not just serious stuff. I mean, it's actually laying a foundation, kind of like what this Three of Pentacles is all about. So when people think, oh, Saturn is bad, and they just dumb things down, then they don't appreciate the good things that it brings. The Wheel of Fortune is showing you that life is a cycle, and that now, you have a good chance to be in alignment with a lot of that good stuff. And that can be very helpful. As a matter of fact, I just thought of this because I was talking about Saturn. You have Saturn in the 5th house as your transit. Okay, so and of course this is a general reading, but just if we want to just make it like universal, Saturn is or Sagittarius is Leo's 5th house. So we have currently, and that's the house that you rule, by the way. So it's everything about romance, that initial stage of falling in love, and conception, and children in general, creativity, which is conception is a form of creating. So, but creative art, art projects, and just all kinds of fun and games. And you have Saturn there, so it's like you're kind of serious right now, probably, Leo, in your life. And so with that Jupiter influence, maybe the Jupiter influence is showing Jupiter in Libra. That's your 3rd house. Maybe you'll meet somebody online who will rock your world, who will expand your horizons. So, it's all good, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this, Leo. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great February. Bye.